It's not just a bear in the woods. The hairy man of the woods. Some call it Bigfoot, some call it the Yeti, and here in Australia it's known as the Yowie. As a child, I would often visit the library to read books on mythical creatures such as the Bigfoot and Loch Ness Monster. Now, as I've gotten older, I no longer believe that these creatures exist. But there is a die-hard group of people who truly do believe that these creatures exist. But today, we're not here to talk about the existence of Bigfoot or people who believe in Bigfoot. We're here to talk about the darker side of Bigfoot. That's right. We're here to talk about the small but yet growing number of people who are claiming to have been touched inappropriately by the creature. That's right. Bigfoot apparently is a sex pest. So I thought, if we're going to examine these people and perhaps potentially ridicule them, then we should start at home first. So we're going to start here in Australia, chatting about the Yowie.
Well, as I was camping and cooking this goanna, I heard a rustle behind me in the bushes, and well, crackers, a bit scared, wondered what it was, and I turned around and it was a yowie, it was a hairy, but it was a lady yowie, a female yowie. Now, maybe she'd been attracted by the smell of the goanna, who knows? But she came over and joined me. She was very coy, and she sort of squatted down and, approached me very sort of, I don't know, a bit subdued, scared, trying to be friendly. Maybe she was lonely. Anyway, she helped me cook the goanna, and then she proceeded, because she had a very exotic aroma about her. So she proceeded then to sort of arouse me, and she was all naked and slightly hairy, and we ended up having sex. Over the next 3 days, we had sex quite a few times. She sort of exhausted me in the end. She was very sort of, very natural, and also, I was sort of fell in love with this sort of strange lady.
That's not really being a sex pest, though, is it? That's more of a date gone well, isn't it? He cooked us some goanna, laid under the stars, and they made love for a couple of days. That's not really being a sex pest. Here in Australia, what I'm gathering is these yowies are perhaps more romantic. So this kind of stuff doesn't just happen here in Australia. It happens all over the world. Even our Kiwi cousins are claiming that something's happened over there.
Joining us from the country of New Zealand is a gentleman by the name of Lee Hart and the crew from Mysterious Planet. He would like to say a couple of words to you, I believe.
Thank you, Don. I've got to say it's an honour being here at the annual Bigfoot Conference /Expo and being a part of all that and meeting all you fine people. I've always had a fascination with Bigfoot.
As one of the keynote speakers, Lee shares one of New Zealand's most controversial Sasquatch encounters with the Bigfoot Conference.
Richard Tompkins made his way into the Waitaki Ranges on the 14th of July, 2001. Then, out of nowhere from behind, a large, upright walking hominid threw him to the ground, ripped his jeans off, and raped him. Okay? He later found his jeans torn up to shreds in the manner that no human could do, a couple of miles from where the rape scene. A number of years later, he was up there once again, and again he was raped by the same beast, we believe. He was raped not once, not twice, but thrice over a 4-year period.
That Bigfoot must have been one hell of a lover, because that guy went back 4 times to get 3 servings. That is crazy. People were so offended that they were getting up and walking out. Getting up and walking out at a Bigfoot convention. Now, viewer discretion. Apparently we've got the footage of this Kiwi hiker being taken care of one of the times by the Bigfoot. So please, viewer discretion. If you have a squirmish stomach, look away. But this is for scientific purposes only.
No!
So now we're taking a little trip back in time to the Himalayas, Tibet, 1950s. This is, for its time, is actually quite progressive. So we're going to enjoy this one, I think.
During the early 1950s, a Chinese Army Frontier Guard stationed in Tibet spotted a figure moving stealthily toward his post under the cover of darkness. The figure had long hair and an unusual gait. Mistaking it for a prostitute from Nepal, the guard attempted to apprehend it. Upon seizing it, he realized that the being was covered in fur. The creature broke free and fled down a gorge so steep that no human could have navigated it. The next morning, footprints were discovered that were neither human nor bear, leaving the guard and his superiors baffled.
Middle of the night, snowstorm, this Chinese officer just wanted to have a chat, a little apprehending of this prostitute that turned out to be a Yeti. A Yeti, Tibetan Yeti prostitute. Who would have thought that? Told you it was progressive. The sex worker. The reason we don't find them anymore in Tibet is they're all on OnlyFans. Don't believe me? Just have a look at Bonnie Blue's face. Looks like it's been freshly waxed. So if you haven't noticed this, I have a new microphone. It is gold, not the old black one that I started the video with. That one decided to shit itself halfway through the video. So I apologise. New hairdo, new microphone, and another day. Let's get this thing finished, shall we? So we have taken a big old trip around the globe looking at all the different big feet. Feets. Big feet. Big foots. And we have landed in the good old USA, where Bigfoot has been made famous. Now, as a nation, Americans are very outdoorsy, so it's only natural that they would stumble across a Bigfoot from time to time in the bush. Now, if this story doesn't make you a believer, nothing's going to make you a believer.
So I got back here, and that's when I saw the female Sasquatch. She tore out of the bushes, knocked me down on the ground. She starts ripping my clothes off me. She did. She pulled my pants off me, and I'm like, oh, great. What? She's going to kill me. They're going to find my naked body here. It's worse. As soon as she got my pants off me, she started, like, jerking the ween. Keep in mind, this is a big Sasquatch, comparable to like a big hairy Russian woman. I mean, she was big. She was like, 7.5, 8 feet tall and hairy. And so I'm down there on the ground. I'm completely naked. My clothes have been ripped off me, and she starts giving me a knobber. It was all just biological. I didn't have any choice. And the next thing you know, I blew my load. I blew my load in the Sasquatch. As soon as I did that, she got up and she ripped down, she let out this howl and then ripped down this tree. No, it didn't end. And then she starts blowing me again. And I'm like, could you give me 5 minutes? She didn't even give me 5 minutes. She started blowing me again. The next thing you know, I bust a nut again, and then she stands up and does one of these isn't that good? I swear to God, I can't even believe I blew my load. It was difficult, but I figured, she was making an effort. I figured at some point I should too.
Now, I think I figured out why people are always searching for Bigfoot. Because once you've been given the greatest blowjob, no string commitment blowjob, you'll be out in the bush every weekend too, searching for another one. Guaranteed. Now, this next video is going to show you the effects of what happens when you've been touched inappropriately by a Bigfoot and the ongoing trauma that it can cause.
57-year-old Gene Morrill will serve 20 years in prison for molestation charges. He pleaded guilty in a Virginia court for his attempts to solicit 13-year-old boys over the internet. But Morrill is making molestation charges of his own. He reportedly is telling an investigator that he had been sexually assaulted by the legendary Bigfoot in New Hampshire. Here, the creature supposedly caught on film over the years. The Bigfoot claim brought some snickers.
Are you serious? I think he's an idiot. I take him very seriously because I know that Mr. Morrill has issues.
The Fredericksburg Freelance Star newspaper reports Morrill's mental health became an issue that his defense used to seek leniency from the judge.
I've had a few that claimed abuse, but never by a mythical creature.
There was no leniency from the judge. He declared Morrill competent to stand trial, then sentenced him to 20 years.
I'm telling you now, if anybody in the world has been molested by a Bigfoot, that guy has been molested by a Bigfoot. I'd say before the incident, he had 20/20 vision. And he was banged so hard, his eyeballs nearly popped out the front of his head. And this is what they're talking about when they talk about inherited trauma. Obviously, something's bad has happened to this guy, and he's passed it on, which isn't good, right? This is nothing to really laugh about. But he was fucking molested by a Bigfoot. And that was his excuse in court. Ladies and gentlemen, I have laid out my case. I have given you the evidence. I have presented it as clearly as I possibly can. You tell me, is Bigfoot a mythical creature or an international sex pest? And are you going hunting this weekend? If you know what I'm saying. And as always, like, share, subscribe, leave a comment about whether you believe Bigfoot is a mythical creature or an international sex pest. Cat ya.